What, are you gonna cry now? Come on, cry, baby, cry for me. Come on, cry!
No one likes being picked on or mocked or ridiculed. No, that's not fun. When you make fun of somebody, it makes you feel good, but not them. Nuh-uh. Sometimes ridicule is good-natured, but mocking and taunting often comes from an inferiority complex, meaning people who are insecure about themselves will often mock and ridicule others. And sometimes people are jealous, so they reflect that with taunting and ridicule. For whatever reason, though, it's a big thing. Today we're going to talk about the most ridiculed states of all. These are the places that are made fun of, mocked, and memed the most. It's the places we, as Americans, bully, usually on social media, but sometimes face-to-face. There's a lot of reasons these states are mocked and made fun of. You've probably done it yourself. And if you live in one of the states we're going to talk about, well, you should just shut up and take it. You deserve it. No, that's mean. But please shut up and accept it. It's your purpose in life. Ridicule, ridicule. They're not cool. They're ridicule, ridicule.
Watch where you're going, needle dick.
We all remember that movie. That poor guy. Well, he lived in Louisiana in that movie. But is there really a difference between Louisiana and Arkansas when it comes to the scorn and ridicule that's dished out? The answer is no. Arkansas ranks as the 10th most ridiculed state of all when it comes to the amount of bashing it takes on social media. And we can actually measure it. Well, I have better things to do than measure tweets and memes, but other researchers took the time to do that. Good for them. Of course, much of the ridicule stems from all the trailer park jokes, the inbreeding jokes, the redneck jokes, the Walmart jokes. You know what I'm talking about. Sure, there's lots of trailer parks and lots of people are poor down there, but they'll tell you that's just kind of how it is. And if you don't like it, well then stay out. They don't want you there anyways, pal. It isn't just recent social media stuff either. It's been going back a long time. Here's the first paragraph from a book called Arkansas Mischief, written a long time ago. For much of this century, Arkansas has been ridiculed as America's dog patch, a poor, rural home for yokels, a place where hounds amble along dirt roads, chickens peck for bugs in the yard, and well-to-do families flaunt Sears washing machines on their front porches. Perennially, we're at the bottom of every economic indicator, fighting Mississippi for 49th place. No airline uses Arkansas as a hub. The highways bypass much of the state. Even the name of our capital begins with the word little. The book goes on to talk about how radio personalities, journalists, movies, and TV shows have ridiculed this state for decades now. Now, I talked to quite a few people in Arkansas about their state, and they are proud to be from Arkansas. Here's what my friend Brad had to say. Do you folks down there care what the other country thinks of Arkansas in terms of, like, you know, the stereotypes and stuff? Are you guys, I don't give a shit about all that? Or do they care that, like, you guys are stereotyped a certain way?
No, I would say not. I mean, I honestly, I could care less, and I don't think really anybody else does too, because I mean, that's just what other people think. I mean, we know what we are, and proud of it. I mean, proud of what we are, and you know, maybe some of us are that stereotypical and some aren't, but it's just kind of whatever, you know.
And Brad was quick to throw shade right back at everybody else too. So what does Arkansas think of the rest of the country? I mean, you're aware of what the rest of the country thinks they know about Arkansas. What do y'all think about everybody else?
Well, California. I don't think too many people here care much about California at all. Just a bunch of liberal hippies out there, and that just let anything go. So we don't have too much problem with the rest of the South. It's kind of our family. And of course, the Midwest, just boring. And the Northeast, that's too congested for us. We kind of like the size we are here. Not too many people, not too few people. You know, just kind of right down the middle of the road.
Good for you, Brad. What are you laughing at, Texas? Y'all are right next door and you're ridiculed a ton on social media. And what's funny about that is little Arkansas is humble, but y'all in Texas think you're special, but you're really not. This is the state that wants to secede, the one where everybody overcompensates for their insecurities by bragging about how big everything is. But they might be too big. I mean, they can't protect their own border, and they can't keep the power on all year round either. There's a lot to make fun of when it comes to Texas. The drawl, The boots with suits and the oversized hats and buckles, the country music crooning, the conservatism, the racism, the silly pride, the religiosity, the gunslinging and tobacco spitting, the big trucks they only used to drive to the mall, the rootin' tootin' goldarn twang, the damn cowboys.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Oh yeah, and the arrogance. The fact that Lance Armstrong and Roger Clemens both grew up here and both cheated in their respective sports. Of course, that's not fair. There's a ton of good people from Texas too, though. Maybe some of the ridicule comes from the whole "don't mess with Texas" thing that's all over the state's marketing materials. It's kind of a weird flex, but okay. Texans will tell you there's only two types of people: those who are Texans and those who wish they were. No, Texas, we don't hate you because we ain't you. Y'all are some good-blooded Americans, but we don't want to live there. Think so? Portland. Now, I make fun of Portland a lot, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of the derision yourself. It seems that people's scorn for one city is enough to make a whole state rank high for ridicule metrics, at least when you measure social media activity for the last year. A lot of the ridicule comes from people in Washington, but that's expected. However, a lot of the ridicule measured came from within the state of Oregon, like people from outside of Portland or those who are actually in Portland itself. Sorry, Oregon, but your one big city is such a mess that the rest of you are victims by association. We'll get to the politics for a sec in a minute, but let's begin with the whole granola eating, liberal, snob thing happening in Portland these days. You've heard it all before. There's wine snobs, weed snobs, coffee snobs, beer snobs, vape snobs, farmers market snobs, homeless snobs, hippie snobs, Antifa snobs, political snobs, environmental awareness snobs, vegan snobs, music snobs, skateboard snobs, mustache snobs, man bun snobs, dreadlock snobs, lesbian snobs, hipster snobs, techie snobs, umbrella snobs, food truck snobs, tattoo snobs, hiking snobs, biking snobs, dog snobs, cat snobs, organic snobs. Politics-wise, you know why this state's a target of ridicule. They shut the place down for whatever flavor of the day, sometimes peaceful, sometimes not organization. This city bows to whoever wants to strong-arm its agenda through. A lot of people in Oregon will stop at very little in their efforts to get their political will acknowledged. This state is often mocked, not admired, at least by sensible Americans. New York ranks really high for ridicule and mockery on social media, but that's also mostly because of one city. It's also because of the state's historical clownish public figures. Lots of us mock our American brothers and sisters in New York for their egotistical behavior, their obnoxious accents, their over-the-top sports fans, for being rude and self-centered and very opinionated. At least that's what people say on social media. In New York City proper, all the traffic and crime and litter and noise, the terrible public transportation, and expensive, shitty small apartments are not envied by the rest of the country and are therefore sources of derision. The rest of America thinks people who live in these conditions are morons. Plus, Wall Street gets the boos when things go wrong with the economy, right? But a lot of that ridicule might be due to a misunderstanding of the state. Maybe a lot of us are just out of touch with what it's really like in New York. I mean, are we unfairly judging and mocking a whole state based on one city alone, just like we do with Portland? Probably. It's easy to make fun of New York, though, and you've got people like Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, Cardi B, Paris Hilton, Rosie O'Donnell, Cuomo, and even Lindsay Lohan. They're all from there, and that's just a small number of reasons people mock and deride the state of New York. Iowa? What? What did Iowa do wrong? Nothing really. But again, it's the whole "I've never been there before, but I'm still going to make fun of it" mentality. Iowa takes a lot of ribbing on social media, and just about all of it involves farming. Like the rest of the country thinks Iowa is just all corn-growing farmers, and we make fun of it relentlessly. Sure, it's boring here, and there's not a huge stimulating cultural center, but that's not a bad thing, right? Iowa stands for "I owe the world an apology." Hey, that's mean. There's all sorts of Iowa jokes out there, but those could be applied to any small states, really. Of course, Iowa's an easy target, mostly because they don't fight back. Like if you went to Iowa and said Iowa sucks, folks would probably shrug their shoulders and say, I mean, we ain't perfect, but we're a happy bunch. Try saying that to somebody in Texas. You'd get knocked the F out, mister. Somebody has to feed America, though. Why are you guys all picking on the nice kid in class? So mean.
Oh, beautiful Sal was a stone-hearted gal, refusing to bill or to coo. But Clem was right smart. He appealed to her heart with that gal getting good old Mountain Dew.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
And that, folks, just about sums up what many people think of West Virginians. West Virginia gets mocked a lot for everything. You're guilty of it yourself. Y'all are a bunch of bullies, I'll tell you that. I can't even show you a lot of the stuff that pops up when you look for West Virginia mockery and ridicule. And you know what? A lot of it's just mean. Poking fun of how poor a place is or how uneducated a place is on social media is just downright ornery, I'll tell you. But West Virginia kinda does deserve the ribbing it takes at times, or at least it's not undeserving. We talked about how misunderstood states like New York and Iowa are, but West Virginia is just about at the bottom when it comes to education, poverty, life expectancy, drug overdoses, and obesity. The whole coal thing is also a source of derision from those who are of the environmentalist ilk. Understandably so. When you remove your mountains, which are the best part of your state, well, you kind of put yourself out there to be judged, West Virginia. They're an easy target, West Virginians are. So, like, what's it like in a small town in West Virginia? Like, the stereotype is unhealthy people, drug use, poor, stubborn, narrow-minded. I know that that's not nice to hear, but like that's what the stereotype is. You're going to have a lot of that in West Virginia, but like you're in a small town. Like tell people what it's like in a small town in West Virginia, the good and the bad.
So basically, I'll basically start out with the good side. You know, there is a lot of country folks, and we have more of a diversity than what people think. Not everyone here is a bunch of crazy rednecks and whatnot, which there's good people that are crazy rednecks, if you know what I mean. You know, there's good kinds of all different people. And yeah, I mean, basically, as long as you don't mess with anyone, they won't mess with you. And if you don't make any threats or anything, they'll be pretty nice to you. And if you need help with something, they'll be likely to help you out. Basically, you just don't want to get on their bad side. There is a few people that are pretty rude and, you know, are just really hard to get along with. But for the most part, as long as you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you.
What a nice guy. Now I kind of feel bad about teasing him. On a related note, we have Mississippi. These two states, West Virginia and Mississippi, are pretty much 1 and 2 when it comes to all the bad things you can measure here in America. We've already talked about all the backwards, redneck, conservative stereotypes in a couple of the other states already, so there's no need to go over all that again. Just a bunch of fat, stupid Southerner jokes is how a lot of it goes when Mississippi is mentioned on social media. Mississippi also gets a lot of ridicule online for its racist past and its strict conservative laws. I mean, the then governor of the state, Bill Bryant, once signed House Bill 786 with a gun resting on a Bible. That bill would allow churches to create their own security with the power to kill possible intruders. It was meant to protect churchgoers at a time of church shootings, but the visual drew lots of criticism.
Not everyone makes fun of Mississippi. I found this article that says it's not cool to make fun of Mississippi.
Hey, that's cool, Mappy. Good find. You know what, Mappy? I think sometimes we're all guilty of bullying people online. I mean, I make jokes about some of these states to try to get a rise out of people.
You're a cyberbully. You hide behind the screen and think it's okay to mock people. Just because it's not in person doesn't make it less hateful.
Okay, Mappy, that was just fucked up. You took that way too far. Am I a cyberbully? Is Mappy right? There's a lot to love about Florida, and there's a lot to make fun of, too. Social media is full of chatter about old people and crazy people and terrible drivers and meth heads and trailer parks. And Florida Man. Florida Man alone is enough to put Florida in the top 3 for this study. If you don't know what Florida Man is, well, where have you been? There's entire websites devoted to the mockery that is the Florida Man meme. Basically, the joke goes, every weird news story of the day begins with Florida Man. Like, Florida Man steals alligator from mini golf course and takes it home. What? Of course, there's positive Florida Man stories. Stuff like Florida Man buys generators for hurricane victims, but nobody wants to hear about that stuff. Florida Man finds missing cat lost in hurricane. Okay, that's a good Florida Man story. See, everyone? Not all Florida men are bad. Men are bad. Stop judging.
Oh, dear Jesus. Oh my God, what a fool.
Just afraid she's gonna turn around and run to the beach again.
No, you psycho.
We're getting our bathing suits. We're getting our Come on, Nicole, really?
That show, folks, turned out to be a bad, bad stain on the image of the state of New Jersey. In fact, the governor of New Jersey at the time, Chris Christie, said the Jersey Shore was a terrible idea because of how it changed the perception of the state's image. I mean, look at it. And what's funny is these aren't even New Jersey residents. These are New Yorkers. He actually got the show moved away from the state entirely. What's ironic about that is that a lot of New Jersey ridicule online came from across the Hudson in New York. But the Jersey Shore is only part of it. People say Jersey folks are rude. People make fun of their accents. They say they're all mob Guidos. A lot of outsiders know New Jersey for smelling bad and for being ugly in many areas. Yes, everything by the airport is gross, and along the parkway is not really that exciting. And then you come to Camden or Trenton or Newark, which are just dumps. I mean, New Jersey kind of does deserve it sometimes. But is this just like we've seen in other states? Is New Jersey mocked because it's misunderstood? I mean, there's really pretty places here that only Jersey residents know about. This New Jersey resident says, if all you know of our state's the Parkway, that's fine with us. We run them through the swamps and pinelands to encourage you to enter another state ASAP. Bye-bye. A lot of New Jersey residents keep on keeping on. They know their state's the butt of a lot of jokes, but they don't care. They can take the joke. Okay, so we're talking about New Jersey, and it's the second most ridiculed state, and I have one of my best friends, Chris Colmar, who's going to talk about New Jersey, hopefully. Chris, New Jersey is pretty much the second most ridiculed state when you measure social media and things that are said online. You're from New Jersey. You grew up there. Why do you think New Jersey is so ridiculed?
Well, we are known as the armpit of New Jersey. No, sorry, the armpit of America. So you look on a map, right, and we kind of just fit right in there. And I had a friend in high school who said, I'm the most hated kid in the most hated school in the most hated state and the most hated country in the world. So I've been growing up with that, and you kind of embrace it. So I don't know entirely where it comes from. People from New Jersey are a little bit to the point and blunt, and so maybe it comes off as rude. But no, at this point, I just kind of embraced my New Jersey heritage of being, the butt of everybody's jokes.
And our most ridiculed state of all is California, everyone. Okay, so this state deserves it. People don't make fun of the poverty here or how uneducated people are. There's a lot of California mockery for stuff that's above the belt. It's the politics and the over-the-top liberal laws. It's overpopulated and overcrowded, overtaxed, overpriced, over-legislated. It's over-policed, yet it has high crime rates and there's homeless people everywhere. It's also all the attention the Hollywood types get. The ones who talk about politics they know little about. It's people like this who live out of touch. It's people like this who live out of touch. It's people like this who are just in another world. It's the richest state, but it seems like they're always out of cash. California tries to position itself as a model state, but it has some of the highest levels of income inequality. It has terrible student achievement scores, and they can't even keep the power and water on all year. What's not to ridicule? It used to be that people mocked California because they were jelly that they didn't live there. Not anymore. Not anymore, mister. This video is about the most ridiculed states. And I'm just talking to people that live in different states that are made fun of the most. And California is number one on the list for being the most made fun of state. Yeah. It's not surprising though, is it?
I mean, I really don't hear it here. Nobody makes fun of us here.
Well, everybody else makes fun of you.
Oh.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like across the nation.
I've actually pondered this before I got on the call. I'm like, what's he going to talk about? Because I don't know what people would make fun of.
I mean, it's not just the accent and the Valley
We're not
girl
in the
talk.
valley.
So
yeah, kind of no. Speak. It's really weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's more of like the politics and the fact that the state is run poorly in many ways, and the homeless problem, and the politicians and the celebrities and the all of that is what people make fun of the most. So, I mean, how do you feel about being cyber bullied by the rest of the country out there in California?
Yeah, I would be on the side that agrees with how much that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm a cyberbully about California, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, don't like it. Don't like the superficial stuff, the politics. Sacramento. You know, all that stuff really bothers me.
I'm from California. I should just interview myself. So, Nick, what do you think about people making fun of California? We don't have a problem with it. We make fun of California ourselves. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So that's it. The most ridiculed group of people in the country. There's a chance your state is on this list. If it is, I'm really sorry. Because, folks, there's a lot of lighthearted fun being poked at one another online. But we have to remember, there's another person at the end of that joke or meme. Cyberbullying is mean, and you should stop it right now. But for the most part, a lot of these states and the people in them are just misunderstood. The running jokes and the memes have become a part of our culture. Mostly stereotypes, if you will. But a lot of people in these states would say, I don't care what you say. I have thick skin. You can't faze me. You know the saying, I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. Take that, America. Bunch of bullies. Ridicule, ridicule, they're not cool, they're ridicule, ridicule. Making fun, I'm 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 making fun of you. Hey guys, so if anything I just talked about upset you or made you sad or mad, well then do something about it. Call your local leaders and demand change. Chip in and help those in need. Make your community better, because communities don't get better without hard work and determination. America's a great place. It just needs some more love and pride.
This is Sage, Nick's manager. This has been a Corner House Entertainment production.
And are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family should be. I do it all the time. Together, let's find you a new home that's safe and checks all your boxes. You can get my email in the description to find out how I can help you find your perfect relocation. And I can also help you find your new house too. Email me and I'll work with you on not just helping you figure out where to move, but I can help you find your perfect home too. That's right. Someone's a realtor now. Who wants to deal with a realtor they don't know when you can have me help you, right? I didn't realize, but when they say the armpit, they literally mean because it looks like Maine is like a hand sticking up and New Jersey is where the armpit
fits right in.
Yeah.
That's
where that came from? I thought it was just...
I think so. And it needs some deodorant, I think, to cover up the smell. So
okay.
It all fits.
I guess so. I mean, I just don't... how much of it has to do with the Jersey Shore, really? Why that state is so ridiculed?
So people usually go to the touristy places on the shore. So like Seaside. So that's where they filmed Jersey Shore. And all the people are from Staten Island, so they weren't even really kind of true New Jerseyans, but they were in like the place people go, which is Seaside Heights and Seaside General. And that's known for being like, if you want to go get a tattoo or a piercing, like when you graduate high school, that's where you go. Yeah. The really like nice beaches and stuff are like LBI down a little further south. That's where like people in New Jersey go. But the ones that people see are like Seaside Heights, maybe like Point Pleasant, those kinds of places, and they're more touristy. And so when you go there, you see like kind of the high school kids after prom getting drunk kind of place.
So you're telling me that you embrace the fact that you're ridiculed, that your state is ridiculed and mocked? You guys embrace that?
Yeah, because you know you're better than everybody. So it doesn't matter. I mean, right, you know that kind of New Jersey's the best anyway, like having grown up there and living there, so that when people from outside say otherwise, you just ignore them and keep on with your secret, right? So
okay. So is that why Jersey people have an attitude? Because you said, you embrace it and you know you're better. Does that reflect itself on like projecting your attitude that some people might sense? Not you, but a lot of Jersey people, they're like, okay, these people are annoying. They're rude.
Yeah. You grow up, you have opinions, right? Like your way. So, right. New Jersey is very like outwardly aggressive. Like you're very competitive in school. Sports are super competitive. Board games, everything you do is a competition versus like I went to college in California and it's all like subtle. So everyone's still competitive. You just don't like say it out loud. In New Jersey, you just say it out loud. And so, right, like you're good to go. Someone makes fun of you, don't really care. You have like an inner sense of pride that really is just impervious to anybody else's opinion or the truth, really. So you just shrug it off.
So what makes your state so great? You're like sitting here like, we know we're number one, so I don't care what you say. Like, why is New Jersey so great?
So kind of the standard ones are best bagels, best pizza. That's just like you're gonna be snobby about it. I've learned that people don't appreciate my pizza and bagel snobbery, but so that's an example where like I'll just say that these bagels suck and people will like get offended about it, but like whatever. And then so generally, right, it's the most like densely populated state in the country. So people like might say it's not a great place to live if everyone wants to live here. Home prices are pretty high. So just another indicator that like people actually want to come and live here. Right. So yeah, you're kind of close to everything without being stuck in the middle of Manhattan. You're close to Philadelphia without being in Philadelphia. You have the beach right there. So there's basically everything you want without having to kind of like be in the worst, like one of the more like down and trodden places.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, so I got good bagels and pizza, and you have some decent beaches, and the rest of it, you're near Philadelphia. Like, who cares about that?
Yeah, well, you're close to everything without being stuck in the bad parts.
Okay, so basically bagels, pizza, and good beaches. That's why you're the best state.
I mean, right, and then just because you have like, you just know, you just have this confidence to know.
Okay.